Hello everyone. So, this is the third lecture of this particular week, introduction to Python. So, you can recall that in the first two lectures we looked at the print statements, the escape sequences, the format specifiers, then the assignment operation that happens for a scalar, right, and the different data types that a variable can take. It can either be an integer or a floating point. And then we also looked at arithmetic operations, addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, integer division, power operation and modulo operation. And then we looked at looked in detail regarding the array operations, right. So, we introduced library called NumPy, numerical Python, right, and there we explained array operations, and one other thing that we did was the slicing operations. Right. So, in case you need to access certain elements of the array, right. So, you can recall things of this sort. V of 2 is to 7, V of 2 is to 7 is to 2, and V of minus 4 is to minus okay, I am sorry, minus 2 is to minus 8 is to minus 2, and things of this sort, and so on, right. So, these are different slicing operations in a one dimensional array. We did the same with two dimensional arrays as well. Okay. So, today we will start with two other important operations in arrays. Okay. So, those are actually called as insertions and deletions. Okay. Insertion and deletions. Okay. So, how do we perform for example, how do we insert an element into an array, or how do we delete an element from an array? Okay. So, let us see how we do that. So, let me first import the NumPy library. Okay. And let us consider the usual array that we consider 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Okay. And let us say I want to insert 15 between 3 and 4. Okay. I want to insert the number 15 in between 3 and 4. How do I do it? I am printing it as such. So, that is why you are seeing the print statement. Okay. So, I write np dot insert of v comma 3 comma 15. So, let us see what this prints. So, you can see that between 3 and 4 the element 15 has been inserted. So, you should ask me, what is this 3? Does it mean that it is after the element 3? Unfortunately, that is not the case. It means that insert this element before v of 3. Okay. So, recall that v of 0 is 1, v of 1 is 2, v of 2 is 3, and v of 3 is 4, right. So, before v of 3 means before 4, which means between 3 and 4, and that is where we have inserted the number 15. Okay. So, now you should ask, how do we insert multiple elements? Okay. We can of course do it one by one, but again Python offers a much simpler way. Okay. So, let us say I want to insert 15 between 3 and 4, 30 between 6 and 7, and 45 between 9 and 10. Okay. So, how do I do it? I do it as follows. So, you can see that between 3 and 4 we have 15, between 6 and 7 we have 30, between 9 and 10 we have 45. To be more precise, 15 has been inserted before V of 3. So, that is why we write 3. 30 has been inserted before V of 6, that is why we write V 6, and 45 has been inserted before V of 9, and that is why we write 45 here. Okay. So, that is the reason why we write it this way. So, you can see the syntax, it is NP dot insert, you write the array where the insertion needs to happen, the positions before which the insertions need to happen, and the elements that needs to be inserted. Okay. So, that is the syntax for NP dot insert. You can also insert it in the same place. Suppose I want to insert 15, 30 and 45, all 3 elements between 3 and 4. Okay. So, that is very simple, you just put the positions the same. Okay. So, you can see that so all 15, 30, 45 has been inserted in between 3 and 4. Okay. So, we are saying that insert everything before V of 3. Okay. So, that is the reason we have this array that is printed. Okay. All right. So, that is how you insert an element or multiple elements into an array. Okay. And now, how do you delete them? So, that is also simple, you just write np dot delete v comma which element do you want to delete, do you want to delete V of 3. Okay. So, then just write 3. Okay. So, you can see that V of 3 is 4, recall that. So, 4 is gone, you just have 1 2 3 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay. You can also delete multiple elements. So, suppose I want to delete 3, 5 and 8. Okay. So, V of 3 is 4, V of 5 is 6, V of 8 is 9. So, 4, 6 and 9 would be gone. I need another bracket, forgot that. So, you can see that 4, 6 and 9 are gone. So, you just have 7 elements. Okay. So, that is about delete. There is one more command called as append. Okay. What append does is it just inserts the number at the end. Okay. So, suppose you want to insert 11, 12 and 13. Okay. So, you can see that after 10 the numbers 11, 12 and 13 have been inserted. This is actually exactly the same as np dot insert v 10, 10, 10 comma 11, 12, 13. Okay. So, what I am saying is insert before V of 10. So, we have only until V of 9. So, if you insert it before V of 10, that means it is after V of 9. So, you can see that the result is exactly the same. Okay. But this command is given because you do not have to write this last element 10, 10, 10 again and again if you want to insert multiple elements at the end. So, there is a new command that is given called as append. Okay. So, fine. So, but this is all when you want to insert or delete elements in a one dimensional array. Okay. Can you insert or delete a row in a two dimensional array or a column in a two dimensional array? We can do that as well with exactly the same command. So, I will tell you what are the syntax, what is the syntax that needs to be used for inserting or deleting a row or a column. Okay. Let me again define our usual two dimensional array 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 8 9. Okay. And let us say I want to insert a row before the first row, that is after the 0th row and before the first row. So, that it will be inserted between 1 to 3 and 4 5 6. Let us say I want to insert 15, 30 and 45. Let me do that and np dot insert, unfortunately. Yeah. So, you need to tell Python whether you want to insert it as a row or as a column. Okay. So, if it is a row you have to write 0, if it is a column you have to write it as 1. So, let us see what the answer is. Yes, you can see that yeah, between 1 to 3 and 4 5 6 we have inserted 15, 30 and 45 successfully. And if you want, if you want me to go through the syntax again, it is np dot insert of the 2 dimensional array M, before which row do you want to insert the row. So, that is before the first row, that is after the 0th row and before the first row I want to insert this, and the row that I want to insert is 15, 30 and 45, and I want to finally say whether it is a row or a column. So, here it is a row, so I have put 0. So, if you want to insert this in between the 0th column and the first column, the command is very simple, you just modify this as 1. So, when you say 1 it means it is a column. Okay. So, yeah, you can see that 15, 30 and 45 has been inserted here in between the 0th column and the first column. Okay. So, that is all it is. You can of course insert multiple rows and multiple columns as well. So, I will just give an example. So, suppose you want to insert 15, 30 and 45 between 0 and 1, and you want to insert minus 15, minus 30 and minus 35, minus 45 after the second row, that is between 2 and 3. Of course, 3 does not exist, but if you say it is between, I mean it is after 2, that means it is between 2 and 3. Okay. So, that means I have to write this as 1 comma 3, and the rows that you want to insert are 15, 30, 45 and minus 15, minus 30 and minus 45. Okay. Oh, I am sorry, I should write it as an array. Yeah. So, you can see that between 0th row and the first row 15, 30, 45 was inserted, and after the second row minus 15, minus 30 and minus 45 has been inserted as well. Okay. So, this is how you insert or insert a single row or multiple rows or single column or a multiple columns in a 2 dimensional array. Okay. Fine. So, how do you delete it? So, you might have known it by now. It is just print np dot delete M, and suppose you want to delete the first column. Okay. So, you just write 1 and 1 again. So, since it is you are by the next one you are actually indicating that it is actually a column. Okay. So, you can see that the column 258 is gone. Okay. You can also delete multiple rows or multiple columns by the same method. Okay. And yeah, append is also similar. So, I will just give you an example. Suppose I want to append 2 columns 15, 30, 45 and minus 15, minus 30, minus 45 at the end. Okay. So, I just write it this way: 15, 30, 45 minus 15, minus 30 and minus 45, and write 1 because it is a column. Okay. Oh, okay. So, sorry, yeah. Okay. So, this is something I should have told you. Yeah. So, suppose you want to append a row. Okay. So, I have appended a row 15, 30, 45 at the end. So, there is a small change from how you would do it for insert and delete, okay, or rather insert you just write it as a 1 dimensional array, right. So, since here it is actually a matrix by itself, you are I mean you should actually write it as a 2-dimensional array. Okay. So, that is I mean a small thing, but needs to be told. Okay. So, yeah, suppose you want to append another row. Okay. So, note how you write this here. Okay. So, you actually write this as a 2-dimensional, it is a matrix by itself. Okay. So, you have 2 rows and 3 columns as such. Okay. So, that is how you append rows. Similarly, to append columns you write it as a column matrix itself. So, only then the append actually happens. So, for example, I will yeah. So, you can see that this is actually an error, because you are trying to append a 2 cross 3 matrix to a 3 cross 3 matrix, I mean as in the columns, right. So, that is not possible. So, you have to write this itself as a 2 cross 3 matrix. So, I will write the transpose of this. So, it will look like the following: 15 and minus 15, 30 and minus 30, and 45 and minus 45, and now you can see that you actually got these 2 columns appended. Okay. So, this is a small modification in append that you have to do when you are doing it for a 2-dimensional array. Okay. So, yeah, this is basically insertion and deletion. Okay. So, yeah, you can see that yeah, I will just write down the commands. I think that would be better for row insertion. Okay. So, you write np dot insert of m comma m is the 2-dimensional array that where the insertion needs to happen. Okay. And yeah, the row numbers. Okay. So, I will just write it as the first the number where the first row needs to be inserted, dot 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 the number where the kth row needs to be inserted, and you write each of these rows. Okay. So, yeah, I will write this just as r1, r2, dot 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 rk, comma 0. So, 0 is to say that the insertion actually is in the form of a row. Okay. So, if it is a column insertion, okay, so everything is the same. Column 1 column k and C1 C2 dot 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 Ck, and here you write 1. Okay. So, that is more important. In a similar way, so if you want to delete a row, it is np dot delete m row 1 to row k 0. Okay. And similarly for column deletion, everything is the same except you write 1 here. But as far as append is concerned, there is a small change. Okay. So, if you want to, let us say, append certain rows, so you should write it as m comma, this should be a matrix by itself. Okay. So, r1, r2, dot 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 rk 0. Okay. So, this is how it has to be. So, note that yeah, it has to be a 2-dimensional array whatever you are writing. So, that is how row append needs to happen. And for column append, it is a little more tricky. You have to write the column matrix as such. Okay. So, it has to be of this form. So, yeah, column 1, column 2 dot 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 column k comma 1. So, yeah, each of this will be something of this sort. Okay. So, you write the matrix as such. So, that is how you do column append. Okay. So, yeah, this is I mean important when you actually want to insert or delete or append certain elements or certain rows and columns in arrays. Okay. So, fine, I wanted to let you know about this. Okay. And after this I yeah, I will discuss about certain array operations. Okay. So, suppose you want to add two arrays of the same size, of course it, otherwise it, the I mean Python will actually give you an error, and suppose you want to subtract, suppose you want to multiply by means element wise multiplication, element wise division, all of that is possible. It is just exactly the same as what you did for the scalars. Okay. I will just give you an example quickly and move ahead. So, let us say we have V is np dot array of yeah 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and W is V of, so you know that it is the reverse, right. So, I just use the command that you already know, and let us actually print okay. So, I need to print this line by line, otherwise we may not understand. So, V plus W, I am sorry, and V minus W, V into W. Yeah, I am just showing you what is the result for each of them. So, I think I mean that can be done in one go. V integer division W, all of that is possible exactly like what you did for the scalar, and yeah, V power W, and finally V percentage W. Let us check what happens. Yeah. So, you can see that, so imagine 1 to 10 and 10 to 1. So, if you add them you just get all 11s, right. So, yeah, that is all it is. Now, then when you subtract 1 minus 10 is minus 9, 2 minus 9 is minus 7, and so on, 10 minus 1 is 9. So, that is what you get when you subtract them. When you multiply them, 1 into 10 is 10, 2 into 9 is 18, and so on. So, you get something symmetric, and now here you get 1 by 10 is 0.1, 2 by 9 is 0.2222, and finally 10 by 1 is 10. So, that is what you get here, and yeah, V integer division is, yeah, so until 4 it is 0, then 5 by 5 is 1, 6 by 4 is 1.5, but that is 1 again. So, you can see that each of this, I mean you can take the integer of this and you will get this, okay, the integer part of that, and the power is, yeah, you can see some of them are really huge. 1 power 10 is 1 and 2 power 9 is 512 and so on, and yeah, you finally have the modulo operation as well. Okay. You can do the same for 2 dimensional arrays as well. So, if you have two dimensional arrays, okay, so you can just add them as V plus W, subtract them as V minus W, and so on, okay, everything remains the same. So, you might now have a question, what about the product, right. So, when you have two matrices and you write V into W, what Python does is not the matrix multiplication, the usual matrix multiplication that you know, it actually does an element by element product. Okay. So, I will just show you a quick example. Okay. Yeah. So, let me so M is what I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I will also say N is equal to M, okay, and I will ask it to print M into N. Okay. So, note that n and m are both 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can see that it is just element wise multiplication 1 into 1, 2 into 2, 3 into 3 and so on. Okay. Then how do you actually perform the matrix multiplication? You have a command which is you use at shift 2, right. So, if you do this, then yes, what you get here is the matrix multiplication. Okay. So, do not forget this command, it is m at n. If you just use asterisk, it is not matrix multiplication, it is element wise multiplication. Okay. This is something that you need to remember. Okay. So, yeah, that is about yeah, the simple arithmetic operations that we can have. Yeah, so yeah, for the one that we discussed was arithmetic operations. So, but at this point you must also be thinking about many other things that you want to do with matrices, right. For instance, I mean, how do you find the shape of the matrix, right, the size of the matrix. Suppose you have a matrix m equal to something, okay, and you want to find the size of the matrix. So, how would you do it? So, I will tell you some of the commands. Okay. So, for example, you can take m here, m is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and you know that the size is 3, 3, and what you have to write is np dot shape of m. Okay. Yeah, you can see that it is 3, 3, and if you write it for a vector, that is a one dimensional array, it just gives one value. So, for example, np dot shape of v is just 10, as you can see here. Okay. So, even if it is for a 3 dimensional array, it will give you 3 numbers, that is all. Okay. So, that is for yeah, that is how you find the shape. You can also find the number of dimensions. Okay. So, for instance, if you want to print np dot ndim of v and np dot sorry np dot ndim of m, yeah, you can see that the number of dimensions of v is 1 and the number of dimensions of m is 2. So, if you want, you can initialize a 3 dimensional array, you will see that the number of dimensions is 3. Okay. All right. So, there are a few more operations that I want to explain in arrays and matrices. Okay. So, we will do that in the next lecture. Thank you.